Okay, hi everyone. I'm sorry because this looks like I am spoiling the coffee break. And as a matter of fact, that's not true. I mean, it's the other guys that have been using too much time. So please don't associate me with not having your coffee. Okay. My name is Andres, and I thank Ernestas very much. I was here in Lithuania 2 years ago on a BIM forum also. I love to come here. I'm an architect, a strange one. I worked in architect offices like for 10 years, but then I decided that this was not, or I would not find the answers to my questions in an architect office. So I went into industry, I started working for a big construction company. I ended up being a site manager. Didn't find the answers there anyway. I was looking for sort of control, I suppose, in that moment. So I started to study project management. And in the end, I made this project management master, and I certified. Is there anyone here that is PMI, Project Management Institute, PMI certified? Please, hands up. No? Well, it's a global organization that cares for process and project business processes, and not only for construction company, also for everything like software, aerospace, whatever. And somehow I ended up having, in Barcelona, in Spain, where I lived, I ended up having a project management company. We were Davis Langdon in Spain, the joint venture, and a small construction company, and we also had a BIM consultant company, because about 10 years ago, all these process things and trying to control projects and learn out of projects it's the philosophy of the PMI, is learning out of projects. Somehow took us to a technology we then knew as BIM. Didn't hear that before 10 years ago, heard that first time. BIM was going to help us to manage information, do things better and stuff. So we ended up being BIM consultants also. This is a little bit about myself. What I want you to remember for today, my speech, is basically this, you know. You probably hear this or know these theories about when you hear a speech, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, you remember one or two things, perhaps three if it's really good. I want you to remember this. This is the most important thing I'm going to talk about, okay? So, first, hands up, who plays golf here or has played golf? Okay, who doesn't know golf, what it is? Okay. Probably if I ask the other way around, who has not played golf, we would have less hands or more hands, depends. Doesn't matter, you know what golf is. I started to play golf like some 15 years ago, I think. And as everyone that likes to play golf, all these hands I've seen, first thing you do is you really fall in love with a swing, and you know, like the golf is basically like, and you go there and you do this thing like for 1 or 2 hours every at least weekend. You fall in love with this sport, and you focus very much on the swing, on the larger sticks, and you want to feel golf, and golf is it's this thing. You don't focus on this. I mean, this is boring. I mean, who would associate this? You know the problem when you start with golf and you want to feel the and you know, you don't go to the court, you have like 3 hours on a Saturday. I mean, this looks like mini golf. It's sort of boring. You know? It's sort of like, so after a year playing golf, on a trip to República Dominicana in Punta Cana, I hired a pro to teach me better golf or whatever. And this guy came up with a story. He told me, look, golf looks and feels like that, and you have super nice shoes. The shoes are incredible, and sticks, tons of sticks, and you know, and the cappies and stuff. But golf is this. The ones that play golf, how many of you are handicapped below 10? Means 1-digit handicap. Okay. The people that play golf seriously and the pros concentrate on this. So they would go like, I don't know, every day to the golf court, and they would practice this. You know, golf is about a certain long distance with 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 hits, and then you arrive to the green, which is this sort of like grass. It's shorter, and on the green, you with 1 stick. There's only 1. It's not. You have like 11 sticks, but there's just the putt, and the putt goes like mini golf, and it's not fun anymore. Okay. Problem is just to reach a certain level of in 1, 2, or 3 times. Reaching the green is something almost everyone in the world can do. You don't have to be very, very good at that. I mean, you can reach that level in 2 or 3 years. Golf is played here, where people, once they reach the green, put the ball into the hole in 1 shoot, okay? And I would say 90% of what is happening in golf is played here, and every pro knows that. But it's not so sexy, okay? So I want you to keep in mind, it's the most important thing today is this is super cool, super sexy, super everything. It's just 10%. You win the game here, okay? This is the one big idea. When Ernestas contacted me last year and asked me to come here, he asked me to do 2 things. I mean, I come from the DACH area, means Germany, Austria, Switzerland, the people who speak German. Please bring some news from the DACH area, like how are you doing there? I mean, you're the Germans, yeah? Wow. And bring news from Germany. And the other thing he asked me is, please be very simple, very specific, and very clear. Just tell people how they have to make BIM, like the workflow. So super simple, okay? So first of all, this is the news. In Germany, Austria, Switzerland, I mean, I've seen like 14 models here, almost all of them integrating MEP and structure and stuff. And in Lithuania, you are how many people? 3 million? Okay. 2.5 makes it even better. In Germany, we are 86 million people. Means that if we divide these 14 models and the population of Lithuania, and then we try to get the same number for Germany, we would be above 400, 450. Very high level, I've seen models. So my first indicator for you would be, don't think that in Germany we are very advanced. We don't have that 400. I haven't seen them. I'm on every BIM event. I'm the typical event guy. And it's because of the coffee. The point is, we don't have this super level. Some people outside of Germany think. I don't know why they think that. It's like German. Well, we make very good cars. BIM is complicated in Germany. It's complicated all over. But Lithuania is really, the level I think is really good for the times we are in. I was in Poland 2 days ago in Warsaw on another BIM event. People also came up, hey, how is it? Germany, tell me about Germany. You must be like, no, we are facing serious issues there. We're doing things, I mean, there are companies, exactly like in Lithuania, that are doing BIM. There's BIM software outside there, and people are in their houses modeling stuff and trying to understand things. We have lots of events. I am a speaker in an event next Friday in Oldenburger BIM Tag. I don't think we will be 240. That's another indicator. I mean, in an 86 million people country, one of the 2 big BIM events in the year, I don't think we will be 200, not probably 200, something like that. So this indicates also that Lithuania is really good level. Private sector is moving. A couple of weeks ago, I was speaking with a bank, for example. It's not the first time. So the important thing, which is getting BIM out of the designing phase into where the money goes on, like owners, banks, insurance companies. This is starting to happen. Starting means for all of us, I mean, I just would copy this, try to get to the start of the value chain, okay? But basically my message here is, if you compare to Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, Lithuania really rocks, okay? It's a super high level here, I think. What is starting to be clear somehow in this sort of like period is people start to understand, okay, this is not about modeling something and I'm modeling my model here. No, this is about communication. Somehow people start to understand that someone that wants to make a BIM model, means an owner or whatever, has to produce whatever, these names, forget them. I mean, it's just symbolic, okay? You can call it the EIR, the BEP, MIDP, it doesn't matter. Someone has to define what he needs. That's a document. What data do I need if I want a BIM project going on and the information of this BIM project in the end? This someone will have to define this into a document against which people can offer what they can do. Next step would be people will offer, okay, if you give me the project, I will, with this BIM execution plan, I will put this information here and there with this softwares and with this quality and with checking with Solibri and whatever. And if they really get the project, they will in the end need to develop a more specific, call it master information delivery plan, call it whatever you want. But these things seem to be needed, and this fits very much again with the PMI, Project Management Institute, and the communication management. PMI is saying for decades already, since the 60s, that a 93%, varies every year, but 93% of projects in the world, they measure that, fail or have serious trouble. 93% is due to communication. And BIM is communication. Okay, we will see this now. So BIM is not creating information. We always, on these events, we see 3Ds and people, what they've been doing. The what information is, I make a model, but a project doesn't only have a model. There's tons of other things going on, information around the model that have to do with the project. So in which point we need certain information, from who's the responsible person for that information, to whom, in which quality, checking with a model checker or not, through which channel do we send these things via email, FTP, or transmittals? Is this, the PMI calls it the 3 grades of communication. Is this informal? Project needs information, I just answer with an email or whatever. Project needs certain documents, I send documents, is a transmittal or a submittal. Or is this a deliverable? This is a set of documents I am paid for, which is a very serious thing, okay? This is a legal thing. So if you see the proportion again is 10-90. Producing documents is 10. Consuming the information and documents, sharing it and communicating is at least 90 and makes sense. I mean, if you think every drawing you are creating during a 1.5 year or 1 year process will at least be sent to at least one person at least one time, means it would be a proportion 1-to-1, but it's not 1-to-1. We send things again and again and again, the project advances, we send it to multiple players, means document creation versus information sharing is at least 10-90. Keep this in mind, please. So a couple of insights. This is now, I'm working for Nuforma in this moment. It's a project information management system. We measure these things. We're 15 years old. And we're measuring through the last, this is a nice number, the last 10 years. Don't take my numbers, okay? I want you to make this number tomorrow, no, tomorrow's Saturday. On Monday, you take a project 10 years ago, take the folder, this is stored 10 years already, and you measure how many megabytes, gigabytes, terabytes, I don't think, are in this project, okay? And then you take a similar project, meaning hotel, 10 stories, and you measure how many information you have today. The last one you have finished. You will come up with something near here. 65 times the information. The information has multiplied 65 times the last 10 years. This is this curve. The raw data is growing, and this is growing because of BIM, it's growing because of mobility, it's growing because of lots of things. But this curve, somebody here thinks it's going to come down. Thank you. Someone thinks that this is going to stabilize in a certain moment. It is not. I mean, this is exponentially growing, and this is drowning us with data we cannot work with. It doesn't provide us value. It is more and more and more difficult to find the answers to the questions, to find something, starting with email, with documents, with whatever you want. People I talk with tell me 1.5 to 3 hours a day per person searching for something, trying to get the answer in a project. Okay, and BIM is making this harder. Okay, 10 years, I want you to measure that in your offices next week. 10 years, a project against a new project. You will come up with something like that. Next thing is, try to, this is more work, but if you want to do this number comes from, I don't know, you probably know this project from Gary, this Louis Vuitton museum, very well known in the world, no? Well, huge BIM thing. They show that at every BIM conference when they can. And these guys, CN Ingenieure, Harry Siebert, the CEO, was drowning in information, and he said, I have to measure what's going on. I don't know where this information comes from. So he separated information and family to understand what's going on, and then possibly react. He came up that 10% of his documentation or his information in the project was documents, and in this case he said 93% of the information in a project was attached in an email. 93% attached in an email. Okay. Which also makes obvious that probably half of more is duplicated or triplicated, or which is a risk, because if information is not one time, you probably will have a problem at a certain point. So, what can we do with this situation? And I will try to be very simple, as I promised. I just talk about the simplest way, and it works. I mean, Jeddah Tower, the highest building in the world in this moment that is being projected, or the Apple campus, for example, keep this very simple project information management, let's call it a workflow, okay? So what I would recommend is, first, understand that this is this, okay? This is the goal. And it's very sexy now because we're doing BIM, and we're doing we are creating with different softwares, we are creating data. We, in an ideal case, check quality and then store as files. So we store PDFs as PDFs, and probably we store PDF also, a PowerPoint as a PowerPoint, also as a PDF. With BIM, it's more interesting because probably we will obviously check models, but then deliver them as a PDF, which will be probably the legal way in the end, still for years, because the rhythm, the pace of legal changes is a 10-year process, okay? But we will deliver drawings from out of BIM into PDF, or some people into 2D CAD, or into IFC, which is like for sharing, or even BIM models. Sometimes they will ask us all 4 of them, like, okay, I want you legally give me the whole set of data in a PDF, but I also want a BIM model. This is going to be mixed, and we cannot do anything about that. That's reality, okay? But we are storing things. This is this famous 10%. Keep this as simple and as lean as possible. I mean, there's people trying to, somehow face this increasing amount of information here with EDMSs, electronic data or document management systems. This means that you are creating a Word, and instead of storing it as a Word or a CAD, instead of storing it as a CAD, you make some extra work tagging information into the CAD, and then store it into a data bank, transforming the CAD file into a who knows what file, and then you're dependent on your data bank to take that information again, de-zip it or de-whatever it, yeah? So you start to really duplicate and triplicate things because you want to have control, because you think with an electronic document management system will help me to find things and have control. This is not necessary anymore, okay? So take this picture in your mind now. It is this. When it comes to your companies, this is inside your company. You create information, but then you're going to use or consume your information with, like, taking the data into a budgeting, timeline, whatever, evaluating things with, for example, a Solibri, or simply managing your information. Here is a project going on, this is your company, other companies are going to work here also, and you have to somehow be able to, with, if possible, zero effort, get what is needed into the project. This is putting. And it is horrible because information is here, but it is 90% of our energy. And it's where most of the risk is. We know 93% of the errors come from here. So transforming, creating documents is nothing anyone will pay you for. They pay you in the moment you put them into the project. You understand? That's when you're creating value. So how can you spend 90% of your time trying to manage something that is increasing exponentially? So what you need is basically an answer to that. You need an answer to, we need an answer to this. This spread here cannot exist. We need the value, I mean, if information is increasing, it's good. More information should be good for us. We need to bend this curve over here and make information into something that is good for us. What we need is something that helps us not to lose the focus. BIM is going on, BIM is going to be here, but we need PIM, which is a family hire project information management systems that help us to really simple way put the information into the project. If it's informal, it's okay, but we need to track it, okay? And no duplicates here. I mean, you send an email to 5 people, or you receive an email in your company 5 people, the email should exist one time, okay? Be lean, okay? Lean means no risk. We need formal ways to transmit and submit things, and we need legal ways of delivering things into, for example, a common data environment. You all have heard about common data environments, ACONEX, Congex, and things like that. You need ways of automatically and not spending half a person a day in a 10-man team to putting information in here. It should be automatically knowing, and this is possible because our data is digital. It is potentially intelligent if we have the correct tools. Again, my message, focus is BIM, but understand BIM as a workflow, okay? This here is putting, but this here is where you create the value. This is every company in the world, okay? Here we have people that do something. Here we have people that make these people do something. You laugh because you are here. Here's the people that look into the future and decide where is this going? Where do we want to be in the next 10 years? And these people, and probably these people, are going to be here in the next 10 years. Projects, if we take this capsule here, you recognize it's this one. Projects happen here, where people do something, okay? And there are tons of it. What I want you to keep in mind, if you are able to keep in mind something else than the golf thing, if we have 2 options, okay? Keep in mind that a company that makes projects is not about a project. It is not about a project, it's about projects, okay? It's a machine, and the people that do things here and create information, they create information silos. No one here is able to understand what's going on here. If you take a project and the upper levels try to understand what's the last status of whatever, and they will find documents and probably tons of emails, but they cannot see the film. Okay? We need tools like PIMs that help us, that the decision people in the company can look into one of these projects and see immediately the film, and they have to see the films of the past, which is much more important because these people come and go. And if there's a company in Switzerland now thinking seriously about this, if it comes to go to court, and this sometimes, construction sometimes happens, things happen, and a 2-year-old project where the project manager is not more in your company, and these people here or these people here have to answer questions about what happened 4 years ago, they have no chance. because their information is not theirs. It's in silos, okay? So what you need is focus on the putting and focus at the pyramid with this putting system where whatever happens, the information stays. You probably will have read or will read during the next years this data is the new petroleum. Yeah? This is very easy to say, but it is only the new petroleum if we are able to transform it in an energy. Okay? And project information management is about transforming our data, even our past data, our petroleum, into energy, whatever happens here. So I just wrap it up. What we need to do is we have to go away from this by making the information as lean as possible. This is something we should think about. Be lean and capitalize our information. Make information something available for the people in the whole pyramid, for the people that rule the company. Okay? So it is about golf. Thank you very much.